Are you stuck at home in lockdown? Yeah, I know, we all are. Don't worry, we've got you covered because it's time once again for Live at Night with Pete Ferrero.
Don't you want to be like, I don't give a shit?
Send me your address. I'll be happy to send you a copy.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. And so, and I paid for it. So that's just lovely. No.
I'm Live at Night.
Where whatever happens, happens. Now along with his special guests, here's your host, Pete Ferrero.
It's Live at Night, and it's 8:30 every night. I'm doing this until I leave for LA, and then maybe when I get to LA, I'll keep doing them again. I'll check in from the road. Yeah, I will. Well, we'll see. Because my 8:30 will be different than your 8:30, and you know. Anyway, with me today, I decided to bring out some wedding videographers, PF Films peeps, in their own world now. But first, cheers. What is everybody drinking? And I think Mike Vernazza is coming in now.
I have some sort of rosé. I don't know what kind it is.
I got a Moosehead lager. What do you got, Melissa?
I've got a cider. I couldn't tell you what kind. I forget. Oh, Downy.
I have cheeseburgers.
Okay.
Those look amazing.
I just got some cheeseburgers. What do you got, Tim?
It's slim pickings in the last couple of days. I'm just down to Bud Light, so that's beggars.
I'm telling you, even this Moosehead lager is a Christmas thing.
Yeah, we're going down to the nitty gritty now.
Yeah, we're out, and I don't really feel like going to the liquor store for anything new.
So, like, how often are you guys venturing out right now?
Every day. Yep, just was in my car. Yeah, I just went out and just sat in my car.
That's good though. That's a good strategy. I go to my parents' house every day, which is nice to have like somewhere to like bop between.
Sure. What about you, Melissa? How often are you out?
We were just out. We heard there might be a lockdown, so we had to make a last-minute emergency run for almond milk.
There you go.
Shit. What kind of lockdown?
I heard there's going to be a special guest. Adrian, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting some scotch.
There you go. Well, anyway, cheers to everybody that's in the room right now. I can't wait to...
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah.
Cheers.
And to you watching at home. And if you have a question, a wedding question, a wedding war story question, or an alternate reality question, feel free to ask it in this in the chat here on Facebook, and I'll try to answer it. But it's not moving at the right rate of speed. It takes me a few seconds to get to it. Now, why doesn't everybody say who they are?
You blocked me out. You blocked me out.
Allison.
I'm Allison. I work for Pete for PF Films. I shoot weddings and edit weddings.
And then also in your alternate reality?
I'm also like a music teacher. I teach music. Like in my alternate reality, what would I be if I wasn't shooting weddings?
That's what I asked you, but music teacher was a good answer. You could say that too as well.
I'd probably just be like a stay-at-home mom if I wasn't doing that.
Wow, how boring.
I know.
A very fucking boring answer. I mean off the bat.
I was auditioning for a long time. So before I had kids, I was auditioning for things. So I might be doing like live theater, like regional theater.
Way better answer than a stay-at-home mom. I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
The second answer we like.
Yeah, good.
First
okay,
answer.
That's what I'll stick with.
Yeah.
We got to add a clap track somehow to this. Can we add a clap track?
What do you mean a clap track? Like
when we have a good yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna get like a.
You can definitely figure that out, but the timing will be off, like the karaoke.
All right, I'm gonna figure this out.
All right, go ahead, Melissa. Go ahead.
I think this is going to turn into a dance party. I'm pretty convinced.
Anyway, so Melissa, introduce yourself, and then go ahead.
Yeah, so Melissa, I actually started off shooting for Pete. I bought a camera. Adrian's a photographer, my wife, and so I went off and bought a $500 camera, and she was really upset I didn't consult her, but I wanted actually it wasn't even a video camera either. But anyway, I now own Electric Love Films, and then joined forces with my wife Adrian to offer photo and video through Electric Love Studios.
Amazing. And in your alternate reality, what would you be in your alternate reality?
What would I be?
Yeah.
I would just be traveling the world like a hippie. I want a Volkswagen van, travel across the world.
Hold up, guys.
All-time dream, gonna make it come true.
Nice.
I love that. Actually, I could go along with that very easily. And then on the bottom here, since Tim is trying to get all this
Double
stuff figured out, the clap track and all that. What about you, Mike Vernazza? Where did you enter into weddings? You shoot for a lot of different people, right? Give us the skinny.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty much 100% freelance right now. So I have like 30, 40 different clients that are always hitting me with work.
Nice.
But I now have MAV Cinema, which is my LLC company that I pretty much just run all my work out of now. And I'm producing a lot more than I have been in the past. Like I'm working with clients, collaborating a lot from the beginning to the end product, as opposed to just hiring me as someone that just creates an image. You know, I'm
correct. Nice.
Working with the cast, working the crew, so it's nice. It's a little more fulfilling. But yeah, things are finally starting to pick up a lot more the past year or two. So I'm excited.
Not in the last week or so.
Not in the last week or the last
Yeah. I think we're all feeling that in this freelance industry. Yeah. Hey, and then what would you be doing in your alternate reality?
I think I'd probably be like a rock star or some type. I don't know. I see myself on a stage with a guitar, you know, or maybe like some type of congas or something. I don't know, something like
Well, you were a child actor. A lot of people don't know this about Mike. I didn't
know that.
Yeah, Mike was a child actor. So maybe you right now would be hanging out with Macaulay Culkin.
I was gonna say, were you
Hey, Jazzy, chuck in the whiskey.
Karate Kid?
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, that's very likely. Honestly, I could have very well taken a different route in my life very quickly. When I was younger, I just got called back for some roles as they liked me, I guess, as I was getting a little older, but not too old. And I didn't realize that I could create a career from this. So I ended up pretty much, they called me back and for a call-in again. They wanted to be like, okay, this is the scene. What do you think? You think you can do it? The scene was me and my friend. We're in a room and we're playing hide and seek. Given that we're 9 years old, we're playing hide and seek, and I run underneath the bed, and then the nanny comes in, who's like an 80-year-old woman, and she starts getting undressed in front of me. So how would I react in that situation? And I responded with, "How much am I getting paid?"
I love that.
And I haven't gone to another audition since then. This was almost 30 years.
He got blackballed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Cut off the list. Yeah.
But you got some interesting things that you do that we'll talk about in a second. Hey, Tim, what about you, man?
Oh, wait, hold on. I got my clap track here.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
I love it.
So what's the question? Where we get started?
Where did you get started in the wedding business or just in film in general? And then what would you be doing in your alternate reality? It's a two-part question.
Sure. So I guess my first real professional dive as far as internships, I worked for DWJ TV in Ridgewood, which was a news station that did fake news for all the other news stations. Before it was like cool, before fake news was cool. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Then next summer I worked for the Maury Povich show, and that was so that was interesting. And then the economy collapsed when I graduated, so I decided to try other things. And then I fell into doing wedding videography through a company in Franklin Lakes for 3 years.
I'm going to call you on it.
Then I left that circus, and that's when I met Peter.
Yep.
And he kind of got me more into the land of DSLR shooting. And then I started my own company, which I'm product placing right here.
There you go. Where is it? There you go. And in your alternate reality.
Alternate reality. I still don't 100% understand the question. But if I was in an alternate reality,
what would you be doing? What is Tim Hillman doing in the alternate reality? Is he shooting weddings? Is he still shooting at the Maury Povich show? Does that even exist?
It depends on what branch of the Doc Brown, where the branch branches off. That's really what it comes down to. I need to get a chart. Should we get a chart?
No, I don't. We don't need a chart. I need
a chart with lines.
It's an imagination thing.
What was your high school dream?
There you go.
I think I've always been doing videos and always been documenting videos.
Yeah.
So like in high school, we just pretty much filmed every single day. We have literally over 40 hours of footage just from high school. So I don't know. I kind of got into the idea of documenting everyday life and stuff like that early on. So I don't know. I can't, it's hard for me to see myself in any other kind of spectrum other than some array of some sort. I think at first I wanted to go into the TV and film scenario, but I think I felt more a cog in the system. Whereas I think with weddings and events, you get more control.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. My answer, obviously, I'm the host of this Live at Night show, and I shoot weddings. And I would say similarly to Tim, I'm going to agree with you that I probably would always be doing something in video because my trajectory in this reality sort of is that, right? Like I started doing weddings and I started shooting commercial stuff, and now obviously I've shot some show stuff and I've been acting in things. So I'm still doing all the things I think I would want to be doing in my alternate reality. So I think I'm going with your answer on that. But if maybe I would go with Mike Vernazza's answer that maybe that's the same for you, Tim, because we were both in bands in school and stuff like that. Maybe the rock and roll thing would have been something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and did anyone have something this weekend that is not functionable because of this coronavirus?
I was supposed to shoot a mitzvah.
I'm only calling it the coronavirus. Yesterday, I just want to say, I made a joke calling it what the president calls it as a joke, and I did clarify after my joke that I was just kidding.
Satire.
Yes.
Yeah.
And somebody said to me, you should really be careful about using that phrase. And I said, of course, I would never mean to, call it that by any means. But so what are you doing? Did anybody have anything during the Chinese virus?
Yeah.
Just
kidding. I'm kidding. It was a joke. It was a good setup. It was a great setup. Yeah.
I was supposed to be documenting like a whole art exhibit gallery, like this whole gallery that was doing this whole show for a week. And they were going to have all these artists come up and do all these guest speaking. And I was supposed to document it was like a week-long event, and the whole thing got
well, because I think you were going to shoot a wedding with us and you had to pull off of that, right? So that fucked everything up for you. Yeah. This weekend, Alison and I were supposed to shoot a wedding for at the Venetian tomorrow. So tonight I would be getting all my gear ready, and I'm going to ask you your processes in a second about what you do to get ready for a wedding. But this is, I'd be getting my batteries all ready. Was it tomorrow, Alison, or is it tonight that we're
the 29th? What's today?
It's tomorrow.
Oh, you were supposed to be there too, Melissa.
Yeah,
Melissa was supposed to be there too. Yeah.
So I was supposed to have one tonight, and then I was supposed to shoot with you guys tomorrow.
Yeah. So I mean, it's very weird, when the news broke that people were going to start canceling weddings, or postponing them anyway, because I didn't have any cancellations. For the most part, they've all been postponements at this point. I was like panicked about it, but then I didn't know, is that really going to happen? And then I was like, okay, it's going to happen. And then so I would have been at the Venetian tonight. What about you, Melissa? Where would you have been?
Stonehouse.
Stonehouse. And tomorrow Venetian. Yeah. And Alison, obviously your answer is the same, but how is, we'll go here real quick. How is the coronavirus affecting all of you in your wedding work or in your freelance work for Mike? Yeah.
Horrible.
Go ahead, Melissa. Somebody has to make the rules here.
I mean, I have worked with small businesses. I have, Adrian has a corporate gig that was canceled. I have weddings that have been postponed, but most of my corporate or small business work all canceled. So far, no cancellations with weddings. And but I mean, I really enjoy the business work. Not that I don't enjoy weddings, but it's a whole different, beast in itself. So
yeah. How about you, Mike? I'm sorry, Tim. Go. I'm sorry, I fucked you over, Tim.
So I think slowly the postponements and cancellations are trickling in. I think the April ones were obviously the most immediate, but now I'm starting to get May. And I've even gotten some people who are just inquiring just about the process in the just in case scenario as far as July. Anyone who has a wedding this year at any point in the back of their mind, even depending on how far deep they are, they're thinking what to do just in case. Just as
now, you've done a couple of Live at Nights already, so people who've been following may know you also have a wedding. Your own wedding is May 16th, and I ask you every day, have you switched the date yet?
Peter's waiting for the date.
Well, the thing about this is I'm coming to the fucking wedding. Do you understand? So I am going to be in LA and I'm going to be flying in for the wedding. So I need to, and I booked my flight because it was like $20. So I'm,
it's true. Book it now. Get it while
I did. I booked my flight to come to your wedding, and I'm just like, but if you change the date, I can cancel. Obviously, everything is good with the airlines now.
Yeah.
So it's really about me, your wedding.
Yeah. No set in stone thing, but there has been some preliminary emails sent out just to see
precautionary
explore alternative options.
Now we have one April 17th that's still slated to happen.
Okay.
But she told me today it's definitely not going to happen. So, okay. But she just hasn't been told that by the venue. And Allison,
yeah, so I work for Pete exclusively. So any weddings that are postponed and canceled for PF weddings, I'm obviously postponed and canceled. But the silver lining of it is we can catch up on some edits.
Totally.
Which is great, but also like my kids aren't in school or daycare. So I have to take care of them as opposed to being able to edit while they're in school. So I'm trying to sort of strike a balance there. But we have other people that are needing work that we're able to say like, hey, can you grab this edit? So silver lining is we're going to be able to catch up on some things, but yeah, we've got some cancellations or postponements. So luckily we'll be able to recoup all of that in the fall. So the fall's going to be crazy, but otherwise it's been okay.
That's the big thing. It's just a matter of having like somewhat of an easier schedule because of how everything breaks out, but now it's going to be a little bit of a wilder schedule through the rest of the year, but that's okay. Right. We kind of roll with the punches on that.
Yeah, it's good. I think it'll be good to be like all at the same time, just wedding after wedding after wedding, like in the zone, and we just bang it all out. I think that'll be good.
And for Mike, how about you in terms of freelance? Is everything postponing? Things are getting canceled? I actually also, Tim, you mentioned that you worked for the Maury show. Mike has worked on the Maury Povich show. I'm going to ask you some questions about that as well. Okay. But has your schedule at Maury got fucked up as well?
Well, Maury's a seasonal show, so they have like a period of hiatus where the show just pretty much doesn't film, which not all shows are like that. It's very unique. But they actually cut the season short 2 weeks early because this whole thing was happening. They were supposed to end in 2 weeks, and actually those 2 weeks they were supposed to film the first 2 episodes or first 2 weeks for next season to get ahead of the head of the game. But because this whole thing happened, they were like, you know what, screw it, we're done with the season, let's just finish it off. And I get paid for those 2 weeks that I was supposed to be going anyway, so I don't really
nice. Yeah. But in terms of the other freelance stuff,
the other freelance stuff, I actually, because right now this was supposed to be the height of my traveling with my, I was supposed to go out to the Midwest. I was supposed to go to Wyoming, LA. I was supposed to go to Miami. I was supposed to, a lot of the things were happening like within late March, early April. Now all that stuff obviously is cut short, but I'm still in conversations with my client and talking about how we can kind of make headway and get things going so that when things are ready to kind of hit the ground running, we're ready and we're prepared. So we're not necessarily setting dates or anything like that.
Right.
But we're just kind of going through scriptings and trying to get figure exactly what we need to shoot as if we're definitely doing it, which it seems like we definitely are. I mean, the guy, my middleman, is in constant connection with the clients and making sure everything's good. But most of the stuff we're supposed to be filming is in these people's houses, like these mansions, filming these home theaters. And of course, nobody wants people to come into their homes. That's like their safe havens. It's gonna take a while for this to clear the air before anyone allows us to film in their homes.
Yeah, we had a bunch of actors on yesterday, and we were talking about just in terms of scenes, having people to be acting against each other in scenes and how they might feel about being really close for things, and all of that once production comes back. I think productions and stuff like that are going to probably be really delayed. Okay, so let's talk some wedding road stories now that we got, or war stories now that we've gotten through our alternate reality dates. But let's start easy. Let's start very easy. We'll do softball, and then we can move our way in. And here's the thing. The reality of it is, on our social media, probably these brides and grooms are 100% following this or can see the feed here. So I'm gonna say as a disclaimer before, in case any stories come out about a bride being drunk from a softball team, it's not meant to be hurtful. It's not meant to be hurtful. It's all in fun. We're going to share some stories, and we're going to always try at the end of the story to give a silver lining or a happy note if we decide to share the stories. But I'm gonna take it very easy first before we jump into some of that shit. Have any of you ever became friends with somebody from a wedding, whether it be a bridal party or a groom or a bride, that you started to become, that they became a part of your world and your life? I'll start with Tim. I'm sure you have a yes on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where when you're thrown into someone's wedding day, whether you know anything about them at all, you get kind of a crash course in them and their friends. And then when you see them at their friend's wedding and then that person's friend's wedding, you kind of start seeing them many times. And I just consider them, friends or friendly people. So I would say a lot of people.
Yeah. But now, are you saying the friendly people, but is there one where you were like, dude, I met you at your wedding and we became BFF? Is there anything like that?
I think I'm trying to think of like one specific answer to give you a good answer. I would say circle back to me.
Oh, okay. Pass. You went fucking pass. Okay. How about you, Melissa?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, mostly brides, mostly grooms. I like bride and grooms. It's never one usually. If it is, it's the bride.
Yeah.
I guess now, like a bridesmaid, I've become friends with other businesses, brides, grooms.
Totally.
But that's really it. No random guests or anything. I saw our own wedding DJ. We saw at a reception, but I mean, no one like we've just met and been like, oh yeah, we're friends now.
You're all suck at this answer. Go ahead.
We've had people, not necessarily that we've become friends from their wedding, but we have people that we've shot their weddings that are good friends of us. So there's that. So like we shot Melissa and Adrian's wedding.
Totally.
Right?
Yes,
so,
that was fun.
So when that happens, there's a sense of like, there's this sort of dual thing where it's like, they'll be okay if we don't get that edit to them right away. But then it's also like, I can't see them again without getting this edit to them. Right. Yeah. So there's like,
also you guys became friends with people in our bridal party. Cause we're like, these are vendors, but they're also our friends. So like, you guys are all friends on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm like, oh, look at them connecting and talking. Like, what the fuck about me?
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. I mean, like, do we have to deliver this right now? Like
usually there should be an understanding, like it's going to take fucking the longest. But and if there isn't an understanding, I just cleared it up for anybody who's a friend of a friend that shot something for somebody else. It's you're going to fucking wait for it forever because I have so much shit to do before I get to your fucking video, Melissa. Right.
We watched it a million times and it was enough to hold us over.
But Alison, when you first started working for me, I think you ran into a bride and you identified her as an edit.
I ran into her sister.
Right.
I was at, it was the second wedding that I edited. And I went into Dunkin' Donuts and I was like, hey, are you, and I remembered her name, which I still remember, but I'm not going to say it. I said, are you?
No, go ahead. It's okay. It's
I think
great...
Jess was her name, was the sister's
it's cool.
name.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
right.
It's a good
and
story.
So it was
we'll hold the names of the bad stories for sure.
Right. It was like Thanksgiving Day. And I walked in and I was like, are you Jess? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, I just edited your sister's wedding. And it was awesome because she was like, oh, that was so beautiful. You did a great job. And then I saw her again. Like I've seen her a few times in Dunkin' Donuts, but we're not like friends.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you guys ever recognize your brides or anyone in the bridal party when they're not wearing their makeup from their wedding day?
I got a good story for this one.
Go ahead. I love this.
So to piggyback off that question, so I was going to actually go into this. So if it's a bride and groom that I've done their wedding, like if I see them out, in the wild, as you could say.
I say out of costume.
Out of costume. And usually, you talk, you chat or whatever. But I don't think I even told Peter this. I saw a couple that I shot for Peter, but like it wasn't my client, so I didn't have that same dynamic with.
Sure.
They were at a concert. It was this Christmas, seeing it Taking Back Sunday show. I can't remember the names, but I was like, do I say anything?
Right. How do you
all day with them, anything? So anyway, I got to a point when we were in the pit and they were right next to me, and I was just like, yeah, well, I'll just say it and see what they say. I was like, hey guys, I don't know if you remember, I shot your wedding. And they're like, no, you didn't. And then I was like stuck right next to them.
Oh man. Wait a minute. So was it accurate or not accurate? Did you shoot the wedding or not?
Now I started questioning myself. I'm like, did I?
Right. Maybe they looked like that couple. Perhaps.
I was convinced that it was them, and now I don't even know.
Okay, Mike Vernazza, I'm going to ask you the question.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple stories. I don't have time for all of them. But
we have time, Mike. There's no FCC warning here. You know what I
mean? No, but actually the one that just came to my mind, which I forgot all about until now, was actually when I was living in Queens, there was one bar that was close to my house and all the other bars were like a mile away. But I used to hang out at this place all the time, and there was this bartender, Joe, and his name, and he was really cool, and he was a really cool guy. And then eventually, like he left to become a police. So then I haven't seen him in years. And actually,
talking to her husband
on one of your weddings, I was filming for you, and I showed up to the wedding, and he came up to me, and he was like, "Oh, you're the guy that I was." I was like, "Oh my God, it's you! I haven't seen you," and I missed him so much because he was a good bartender. And
that's cool.
I wished him luck, and being a police officer and everything. But it was nice seeing him there.
Yeah.
I run into people.
It's funny because I guess for the bunch of us that are owning the businesses, we definitely become friends with the bride and groom. I think that's a requirement, right, for the whole relationship. So the brides and grooms, I'd say that for the most part, unless they give a 4.4 review when everybody else is giving 5, I'm usually very friendly and kind to everybody. I don't have a gripe with anybody, but I will say when we went to Greece, none of you guys went with me on that, but Nick and Eric and I definitely spent a lot of time with the couple, Joanna and Jimmy, in the pool hanging out. And because we were on that destination, I find that you spend like a lot of time that you would not spend, say, like on just a day of wedding. You know what I mean? You're spending like the week with them. Mm. So we all got very, very close. I don't see them as much as I'd like to. And then Jade and Daryl as well. I've got 2 stories I'll share. I put a mic on a bridesmaid once. Her name's Nicole, and we became very good friends. And we're actually making a book together. Her name is Chef Companion Book. So that was one. And then what was a trippy one for me was when I was leaving the studio that I was shooting for a long time. I was really unsure if I should leave or I shouldn't leave. My God, if they're fucking watching this, I really went off the script here. I'm moving to LA. I don't give a shit. But it was really a very toxic situation, actually, if I'm being totally honest. And I really knew that I needed to leave. And, but I was really confused about it. And I got an email from like my, I don't know what grade that was, maybe 4th or 5th grade, my 4th or 5th grade crush, Jennifer Terhune. And she was like, I'm getting married in the Virgin Islands, and I know that you shoot weddings. And it happened to fall on the day of a day that I was booked for this other studio. And I had this like fork in the road decision. Do I go to Jen Terhune's wedding or do I go to this studio wedding? Of course, I chose to go to Jen Terhune's wedding. And her husband is a super awesome person. I'd say he's probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my fucking life. You know what I mean? And the whole wedding was fun. The party was great. So technically like friends with her all those years prior, and then friends again. It's a very cool thing that we get to do. Now let's go to the bad stories.
Transition much?
I'd assume we were going right into the bad stories on it.
Well, I wanted to clean it up. You know what I mean? Wanted to get there, but I almost went bad already.
Up here with the dirt here.
Okay. What's one of the most extreme stories that you've ever seen take place at a wedding? I guess that's the best place to go, right? And I guess you got to be
I think they're all at your weddings.
I feel like it. I feel like some of the weddings that we do, I'm just like, what the fuck happened here? You know?
It's usually the best man with the horrible toast. That's like
Well, I remember
escorted out. I don't know. Are we allowed to talk?
Oh no, okay, but that wasn't ours. Was that mine? I think
that was. I'm pretty sure that was yours.
That somebody got escorted out. Oh, I mean, I've seen that, but I didn't know that you were at that wedding.
Maybe it could have been. Maybe Adrian photographed it then.
No, I feel like I feel like another photographer friend of us has a story about that. I
was definitely present for this.
about a best man who went off the rails and was escorted out of the wedding. I know that. I'm not going to share his story, but by the way, most of these stories are in this thing that I shot. I promise to be true.
I think that was an Adrian story.
That's a Jeff Tisman story, I think.
Oh,
I wasn't going to shout him out like that and call him out on his story, but I think he's got a story about a groom that got escorted out. Yeah, but I'm not going to tell Jeff's story.
Yeah,
if you happen to be there, yeah, I might have.
All I remember was the end of the toast, and the end of the toast was, when this doesn't work out, don't forget, like it was something like, when this doesn't work out, don't forget I'm the one who told you. So,
oh my God.
And that was the end of his toast. And then it was quiet. Nobody clapped. And then I found out later it wasn't a big, huge to do in front of everyone. It was on, the back.
Wait, I feel like that was one of ours.
Yes, it was. It was. So it wasn't a big scene, but after the toast, he was escorted out and he was told.
I remember where it was. I remember exactly which one it was.
Okay, but don't share that information.
Not, but I remember it was ours. It was one of ours.
Was it really?
We had an amazing couple. We love them to death, and they have, like, I wouldn't say the story is horrible, but it's definitely hysterical, where they lost their rings before their ceremony.
That's great. That's a great story. Let's keep it to things like this. Yeah.
They had to borrow somebody else's rings, and then they later found the rings in a bathroom stall on the toilet.
That's fucked up. That's crazy. And I think
they had an amazing time. They had so much fun. It was the best party ever.
Yeah. More than people think.
What's that?
I feel like rings are definitely misplaced more than people think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that people have stand-ins that happen quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Mike?
I'm thinking of what's the juiciest one, but I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of bad. I mean, I remember the first thing that comes off my top of my head was not really anything too crazy, but I remember, I think it was actually at one of your.
Sorry, guys. For my audience, I'm sorry if you're getting thrown under the bus here.
But no, I mean, I don't have to mention any names, but I just remember I had the groom mic'd, and the whole time the bride and the groom were very distant from each other. They didn't seem like they were the type that were about to get married. But then I put the mic on the groom, and then they got married, and then they walked off the altar, and as they're walking down the aisle and everyone's throwing rice or whatever they do, I could hear them. They're arguing, and they're literally arm in arm walking down the aisle, and they're just yelling at each other.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is not gonna turn out well. But yeah,
I mean, I don't know if I can share my craziest one, though I kind of alluded to it earlier, right? The craziest one is, look, for a moment in my life, I decided to be to join a softball team. Right, Tim, you were on the team.
I was.
You were on my you were on my softball team.
I don't know if we won a game that season.
We didn't win any games. We were the worst team we were the Baltimore Orioles of the Lyndhurst League.
I think I pulled a muscle my first at bat. I think I was out for pretty much the rest of the game already.
And I met this couple, and look,
Alison's getting out the hard stuff.
I was there.
They're very sweet, wonderful people. So I mean, the setup of this is that they are absolutely incredible people. But the reality of what happened was that he hit me up and he was like, "Hey, I know you shoot weddings," and because we were on the same softball team, I was like, "Of course, okay, yeah, of course I'm gonna do the wedding, right?" And so we go to do the wedding, and she and I spent a lot of time with the groom through the softball game, but I never spent much time with the bride. And again, just a wonderful person who just had way too much to drink early on in the day. and it really, it just really caused quite a stir and quite a scene through most of the day. And
she was fine at the ceremony. The ceremony was good.
She was wonderful through the ceremony, but then she was not actually wonderful there during the ceremony.
From the ceremony to the reception.
I think she actually heckled the priest at one point. I think she actually heckled him. Yeah. But again, I'm just following who's like watching, so they're not watching. But I just wanted to make sure. But it was wild, and because we were on the softball team, obviously I'm a huge Mets fan. I'm wearing my thing here, and because the trippy thing about it was to get from the ceremony to the reception place, you had to take a boat. Which it was in New York too, so that made no fucking sense. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, what the fuck, But anyway, I didn't take the boat for whatever reason. They wanted us to be on this like side boat, but I was like 6 months pregnant at the time. So we had said no, we're not. I'll meet you on the other end. I'll meet you on the other end. Like I don't do things like that. I don't want to be on the boat. I don't want to be on the boat. I don't want to. Just when you get there, I'll see you there. You know what I mean? Really, please.
The photographer took the boat though, and when she got off the boat, she was like, "You guys should be glad that you didn't go on the boat. Like you would have gone into labor on this boat."
Well, that's where the shit hit the fan, was on the boat.
She had like a box full of wine. Like it was like a.
Yeah, but I mean, and she's obviously, she probably doesn't drink like that often. She probably
they said she had been like she had been not drinking for a long time because she was nursing and stuff, so her tolerance was low.
Excuses.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, so when I came up to her, because I'm a Met fan and she had known this, she was like, "Let's go fucking Mets!" And I was like, wow, that's really intense for this portion of the afternoon, But yeah, that was a pretty intense.
We had falling over during the entrance. We had falling over during the first dance. We had a lot of crying.
Okay, next question. Now that we got that, okay, this will be a fun one. Melissa and I say a thing at weddings. Oh, God, we're live. We're live here, pal. We say a thing at weddings sometimes. Where it's just a joke between the two of us, and I pulled it from Impractical Jokers, but I'll walk over to her and I'll go, again with this shit. Right? And it's really just meant for fun.
Yeah.
What is the moment of the wedding or the individual where you feel, again with this shit?
For those who don't know me.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
And explain what you mean by that for people that don't know.
At the beginning of toasts for the best man of maid of honor, it usually, I would say maybe 80% of the time, starts with, "For those of you who don't know me," which like most of the people there know them. You also don't have to introduce who you are. No one gives a shit who you are.
It must be on Google. Like it has to be.
I'm sure it's like somebody read it once. I thought it was in a movie. I've been under this belief that it was somewhere in a fucking movie, and everybody thinks they're making a very.
I'll say it for those of you who don't know me.
Wait, what did you say?
Maid of honor speech.
Tim, you said it was from Google?
I think it's one of those things where every maid of honor or even best man probably Google best man speech, maid of honor speech, and they'll probably all start off with
someone's blog.
Yeah.
Did you guys happen to see the clip that's going around of Donald Trump going, "Okay, don't be a cutie pie"? Did you
what?
I lost my shit on that one. Yeah. That's what I was just going to say to you. Okay, Tim, don't be a cutie pie. All right, anyway. Go ahead, Allison. What you got on that?
Yeah,
so you said that. You said that. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know me, yeah, that's the main one. Oh, and just when the toasts go longer than 4 minutes, longer than like our clip needs to cut.
That's from an editing standpoint, yes.
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes and 50 seconds on the GH4 is when it cuts. So like if you're before the 5 minutes and 50 seconds, that's great. But if you've got to go longer than that, I've got a problem with you.
All right, go ahead, Melissa. What you got?
I think it's right off the bat. Like I have a checklist of things I need to capture during prep. And of course there's someone who's like, "Did you get a picture of this?" And it's like a piece of hair on the floor, basically. I mean, it's not that, but But it's something irrelevant in the moment, but they don't know. They don't know it.
But it's funny that you say that how annoying is it? This is not my answer, but I'm going to piggyback on your answer. How annoying is it when somebody in a bridal party or a mom or somebody says, did you get my uncle in the picture of the video of my uncle? Did you see that he was dancing? My uncle's dancing. Don't you want to be like, I don't give a shit. I cared 2 minutes ago when I observed it. Now that you told me about it, I don't give a shit.
I think it's only annoying. Like it's nice when you're like, oh, you should get it, but it's annoying when like you just filmed it for 5 minutes. You're like, okay, I got it. And then,
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Or that's just the hard tap on the shoulder, like and a very aggressive, like it's so urgent.
I've had like an aunt opening a card from the bride where they're like, her aunt's opening this card. And I'm like, this is never going to make it to your wedding video. Like,
I had one groom and he's a wonderful person. I had one groom literally shit his fucking pants because he had to read the card. Like literally, why the fuck would I do something like that? I'm like, relax, bro. You know what I mean? It's not, I didn't ask you for $1,000. It's just fucking reading the card. You know what I mean? How about you, Mike? Tim, go ahead.
I had a groom ask me if I could write the card for him. No joke.
That's amazing.
I said, you don't have anything? You got nothing? Not even like an I love you? Like, can we
Did you do it?
I was like, dude, no, you gotta write like 5 sentences. It doesn't need to be a novel. Just write it.
Yeah, just I love you and can't wait to get married.
He was
if you did write that, you could never admit it, right?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Maybe I did. Maybe I'm covering it up right
That's
now.
getting buried with you.
Tim, what's your most annoying thing?
My most annoying? Oh, I mean, I can make a bingo board if you wanted to.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Wait, I can't wait to tell you mine, but go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I think my most frustrating thing is during, or the first thing that came to my mind is during photo session, bridesmaids are never comfortable with the weather. It's either I'm sweating, oh my god, I'm sweating, or oh it's like so cold. It's so cold. It's never ever in the history of bridesmaids has it ever been. It's perfect weather out right now. Never been said.
Here's one that no one's gonna say. How about the makeup artist? When you're shooting a nice tight shot of the fucking bride and the lips and all that. Oh, don't get me. Who the fuck wants you in the video? Why do I care?
Oh man, most of them are wearing their pajamas still.
I know, like oh my god, I know you got up really early. Cool. I'm gonna be here for 14
for 12
fucking
hours. Yeah.
I know your morning's been rough, but holy shit, don't worry, nobody's focusing on you and your nails. Anyway, go ahead, Mike. What you got?
Well, I just know, I mean, typically any wedding day, I mean, right from the bat, as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, here we go again. But, I don't know, the main thing I think is when I show up into a venue and I see how much money these people spend on these days. And I don't know, I just, I don't know, for me, I always imagine, you're going to spend $500,000 on a party, might as well just, send the closest members of your family out for a trip for 6 months and just do the whole thing.
Sure.
But I guess the main thing I guess that really bothers me, that really kind of gets under my skin, is when I'm filming on the floor and I'm filming like someone who's like, like a family member, media member, and I'm like, they're in it and then everyone's having a good time, and someone has like the balls to like grab me on the shoulder and be like, no, film these people over here, film these people over here. People are great. And I'm like, no, like I'm filming it, and they keep tapping me like, no, you gotta film these. And
it's so frustrating.
Especially when I just filmed them like 2 seconds ago and they're not doing anything, and then I finally turned to film them and they stopped doing whatever they're doing, and I lost the moment. I don't know. It's one of those moments where it's like,
yes,
I'm doing my job.
How about the fucking another person, the most dramatic person of the day? Who is the most dramatic person of the day?
Mother of the groom.
Good answer. Wrong. The limo driver. What?
Yes, that is.
With the amount of drama that comes out of these people. What the fuck? You think that he's giving her away?
The
fluffing and the whole fucking touching the dress and like practically molesting the back of the bride before she goes out. I'm just standing there with the gimbal waiting to go out.
The bridal attendant too does that, where they just walk right in front of the camera when you're trying to get this like epic walk down the aisle shot, and they're just
all
like
the time
at the end.
all the time.
But the limo driver with the drama, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They give you the rundown of like what they're gonna do too. Like, here's what we're gonna do, as if you never heard like
The limo driver says that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck is that? What are you telling me what I'm gonna do?
You're gonna open
today?
a door. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, what do you mean? And then we'll do the champagne, and it's always like some fucking Nutley, New Jersey type. Even when I've shot in Greece and all over the world, it's always the same type of limo driver.
And the champagne's disgusting, and half the time the brides don't even want to drink it. They're like,
It's such an awkward, stupid shot too. If
I
we're being
was-
totally honest with each other.
I was
But-
recently an annoying bridesmaid taking photos with my cell phone. But the limo driver tries to do everything. Oh, I got that photo for you. I got that photo for you.
No.
Somebody put their music on. Give me your phone. Give me your phone.
Some photographers will entertain the shit out of me, and I think I've seen Ricky Restiano and I've seen Jeff Tisman do this, where the limo driver will set up the shot and he'll be like, "Yeah, I don't want that."
Well, actually, when you're talking about photographers, the one thing that actually does really bother the most and really gets me out.
Here we go.
Is-
Adrian.
In the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it goes. No, because typically as a videographer, I don't do photography for weddings. I do video. So typically a videographer, they only hire usually one videographer, unless it's a big thing. You go like 200 plus people, they'll hire a second person. But a lot of times only one. But then they'll hire 5 photographers. And we're all trying to get the same shot. And I'm like sitting there, we have 6 photographers all pretty much just pushing each other, trying to get the same shot. And a lot of times I try to communicate with them and stuff, but they're in their own world. And I know everyone's kind of doing their job and in their moment, but it's like it's kind of almost self at that point. And then sometimes someone will get into my shot and like almost like grudgingly, I'll be like, okay, now I'm going to get into this person's shot.
Look, I think photographers are wonderful. Obviously, I love working with Adrian and Jeff and all the people that I always talk about. Definitely. Right. And I'm sure, Tim, you've got a list of people that you love working with. Mm-hmm. But the newbie photographer is really challenging to work with, because you literally will watch them doing shit with the fucking camera and the lens, and you're like, they don't know what the fuck. Like, I don't know what they're doing, but I know that's not right. You know,
some people have been doing it a long time and they just keep doing it their own way.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. I mean, I know I worked with a lot of photographers who've been doing this for years, like 15, 20, 30 years, even longer. And they still have they still get in my shots. I still get in their shots. I know it's hard to kind of look over your shoulder.
Yeah, it's almost like even the old school guys are probably the worst, actually.
Right. No, definitely.
I'm going to tell you guys a story, and he's probably going to watch this and be really mad. But there's an old school photographer. You guys have all worked with him at some point. And I was at a Samantha Fish concert. So a female blues guitar player. She's fucking phenomenal. Anyway, it was in Jersey. Christina and I went. And I had just gotten my wisdom teeth out or some shit, right? And so but I still went to the concert and drank beer the day after. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to this concert. I'm going to enjoy this. So I see this old school wedding photographer at the venue, right? And he looks a little bit creepy at this event, you know what I mean? Because I'm just like, okay, whatever. And so now he has, of course, brought all of his gear with him to the concert. Like, what the fuck, man? Just go fucking watch the girl sing. You know what I mean? Like, she's a great guitar player. Nobody's looking for your shot. Nobody's counting on it. Nobody thinks it's going to happen. You weren't hired to be part of the crew. Just go to the fucking show. But of course, he's got the 70-200. He's got the fucking lens, everything, the fucking gear all over himself. And now he jumps up on a speaker, right, to get the. You know, and he doesn't even know, and to this minute, he doesn't even know that I'm there. You know, I was actually walking up to go, hey, Harry, you know, and his name, you know, I was going to scream his name. And then he hopped up on the speaker and I was like, okay, this is not going to go well. So now the security, of course, boom, right over to him. You know what I mean? Speed over. He goes, get off the speaker. Now, what would you guys do? Just get off. I'm not even
Just get off. Just get off.
I'm not the photographer. So I'm going to get off the speaker. He goes, and he does the classic wedding photographer, 1 minute, kid. Like who the fuck? And the security guy goes, if you don't get off the fucking speaker, I'm going to knock you on your ass. Boom, pulled him right off. Done. But like, what, this is not a wedding, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have the authority at the Samantha Fish concert. That's my fucking. If he sees it, I'm sorry, I saw it. This is what Live at Night is. Live at Night is totally unplugged. There's no rules here.
Uncensored.
Yeah, raw. Yeah.
Well, one little other story which I gotta tell. It's a little fun story and quick. I remember once I was at a wedding, and they have those chocolate fondue machines. Just like fountains of chocolate. It's nice and delicious. You put your banana or your coconut piece, and it's yummy. And I was like getting the cocktail footage, and I was behind it, getting like the other view kind of through the chocolate, seeing people kind of putting their little pieces of fruit in there. Some woman goes up and she kind of like leans on the table a little to get a little closer to the fondue, because the more rich chocolate, delicious chocolate is in the center, of course. So you got to go,
right.
Apparently she leans a little too much on it. The whole entire thing, which is pretty about 4 feet tall, comes down on top of me, literally. And I'm holding the camera on a monopod in one hand, and I grab the column in the center with the other, trying to keep it from falling me. And it's a lot heavier than you think. The thing is like, it's a lot of chocolate. The thing weighs probably. So the thing, I kind of fall back on me. Meanwhile, the chocolate is pouring me on my suit. It's like going on my legs. I'm trying to save the camera. People are staring at me. They don't know what to do. So eventually I kind of like put enough force in. I just push it back up. At that point, I'm completely drenched in chocolate. And then like on my hands were in the chocolate. I had nothing I could do. I could let it go. The whole thing would have went onto the floor, and there would have been like 40 gallons of chocolate everywhere. So like, and immediately afterwards, like, okay, you're good. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. I'm like, okay, great. People just immediately start going and just putting their bananas back in the chocolate, and eating the chocolate. And then, the chocolate is liquid when it's hot, but once it cools down, it hardens. So I didn't have an extra suit on me, so the rest of the day I was walking around with like a hard chocolate shell suit. For the rest of the day. My shoes were completely drenched in chocolate. My legs. It was.
So to finish out the day, like.
I did.
It was at least the end of the day, though, right?
It wasn't like
Yeah.
No. This was like the. I guess. Yeah, I guess. It was the dessert, but it was like there was like maybe another 2 hours left after the thing, so it was in the middle of the party, but it was enough where I had to like be covered in chocolate and work, for a couple hours with this.
That's fucking hilarious.
And
How about you, Tim? How about you, Tim? Have you ever had anything similarly? See something drop?
I've seen things. I'm trying to think. The first couple things that come to my mind. First one was I was filming a toast, and a waiter had tripped on one of our lights during the toast and spilled like all the plates everywhere and just crashes. And my light's not on the right spot anymore. So now I'm trying to pretend like it's not even my light. I'm just continue filming. But definitely a good like two people's or two tables worth of food is just destroyed. I've seen a huppah go down completely taken off by the wind. I've seen I know you had the cake in the show as one of your but I actually did see cake recently go down.
I've never seen a cake go down. Yeah,
it's funny that it was like
I've always wanted to see it too. I mean, no, not really. I'm to my brides and grooms. No, yeah.
I'm trying to think of other just like of destruction you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, you know who I should shout out to real quick? About friends or people that you met from weddings. The girl that used to work at the Palace at Somerset that used to do the cakes made my 40th birthday cake, and it was fucking amazing. I have to dig her name up while we're doing this, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah, just total destruction.
I mean, I think we've all seen any kind of glass with a floating water candle. It's gonna burn.
I think Pete's knocked one of those over before.
I've knocked some. Oh well, yeah, I have. I've broken shit.
I think I blocked it out of my memory if I broke something.
I had a bridesmaid recently pass out during like the very last. The officiant was saying like, "And now I present to you Mr. and Mrs." and she goes down.
Tough.
Hard. And
Tough.
Luckily, it was a one camera shoot, so I was just on the bride, the groom, and the officiant. But luckily, I had set up a second camera and got her like going down. And the father of the bride comes up to me afterwards, and he was like, "If you have that footage, I will pay you."
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah,
we've
been using it in places. She's cool with the bride. That's I forget. Oh, I won't shout her out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, they were awesome. That bride and groom were awesome.
But one time I was doing a wedding in Philadelphia with Alison. I don't remember when this was, but I don't know if you guys know, but sometimes I get really bored at photo sessions. Like after we get a handful of shit, I'm just like, fuck, what do we do for the rest of this now? You know what I mean? Like I'm going to go everywhere for real. So I leaned into Alison and I was like, you got this, right? And she's like, yeah, okay. So I hopped in an Uber and I went to Pat's Cheesesteak. Because I knew there was a long like layover from.
It was a long like stop at that street.
But I was still fucking a little bit nervous about will I make it in time for the first fucking entrances and all this shit, the cocktail hour. But I calculated the distance from where we were to Pat's and from Pat's to the venue. And so of course I just fucking wommed down a fucking cheesesteak with the hot cherry peppers and the whole thing, ate 2 of them within 15 minutes. I hopped back into the Uber and it was a little bit of time. And just as I was arriving to the venue, the couple and all the bridal party was arriving at the very same time. So I was like, I told the driver, go, go, go. Like, why? Isn't this the place that got to drop you off? I was like, I just didn't want they didn't know what I had done. They didn't know what, but I knew. Anyway, I got out, I ran in front of them, and then I was like, oh, that was a great photo session, wasn't it? But so sometimes if you're a Philadelphia wedding, I do skip your photo session to get a cheesesteak. I only did that once.
Is that what you do when you leave? You disappear sometimes, Peter.
It depends on the city. If it's Chicago, I go to Mr. Beef, but if it's Philadelphia, I definitely go to Pat's. Yeah.
Well, I had a fun story with you at one of the last weddings, maybe the last wedding that I did with you. With the police were involved.
Fucking tell that. That's another great one. I forgot. That's a very underrated story. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, we were doing the photo session. We went, this was it Long Island?
I would think it was, it was Long Island somewhere. Yeah.
It was somewhere you got to cross a bridge and there's a whole
Glen Island,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so we went there to go do a photo session and it took a little longer than expected, but actually, that's right. We had a lot of extra time and we were like, okay, we did kill.
Yeah.
And so there's only one way on and off the island. There's one bridge. So we're all going, following everybody behind like the bus and like the bride and groom. And all of a sudden everything comes to a dead halt. And I'm like,
we're all stopped.
What's going on?
Total stop.
We're thinking that, the bridge is up. We're thinking the boat's coming by. So we're sitting there waiting 10 minutes, 20 minutes, a half hour goes by. No boat comes by. I'm like, what the fuck?
We're deep into like 45 minutes now. Yeah.
At least. And then so all of a sudden, like police start showing. We start seeing lights on the other side of the bridge, like on the other side of the river, gathering. And we're like, what the hell is going on? And then so immediately, all of a sudden, the bridge starts lowering. As soon as it lowers and stops, like 20
swarm cops, guns blazing,
like hut with their guns, like running across.
Wild.
And they storm this pickup truck that's carrying a boat, like this.
Stealing the fucking boat.
Yeah, we don't really know. Were they stealing the boat?
They were stealing the fucking boat from the place. And prior to that, Mike and I, we were Ricky Reciano's crew on that. And prior to that, we saw them stealing the boat. We just thought they were just a father and son couple pulling their boat out of the water. Right, they were stealing the fucking boat. Isn't that insanity?
They were 3 feet away from us, like looking at us, exchanged a glance. I didn't think anything of it.
I just thought, oh my God, what a nice father and son trip. What was that? I mean, November-ish, getting the boat out of the water. You know what I mean? That's a little late this year, but wow.
Yeah. But then had to wait for the cops to pull him out of the car. There was a couple of people brought into the car. Most of them were pretty young, but it took probably an hour and a half before we even got
got settled up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we finally moved, and then we rushed to get in. We had all this free time, and then we had to rush. But yeah, that was.
How about you, Melissa? I saw you. You got something?
Oh man, it's not related, but it's cracking me up. So it's basically, so well, for those who don't know, that I work with Pete and Allison, I have so much more fun because I'm not the boss. Because when I'm running my own company, I'm like, I got to make sure I get all this stuff.
Right.
For them, I have one specific role. I know what I need to get, so I can really enjoy humankind, which is really what it is. It's not
totally.
cruel.
I agree.
There's nothing cruel about it. I just come over to you and I'm like, this is funny, and I share with you and we crack up. But we were filming toasts. If this wasn't with you, Pete, but Adrian was the photographer, and filming toasts. I'm watching in the background outside. There's this big glass window behind the toast delivery. And sorry, I'm getting distracted.
Yeah, no, I muted Mike because he was all over the.
Okay. So I see this kid, and this kid is just hopping around, and they're playing out there, and I'm like, all right, film the toast, and then you see him, he's going from chair to chair, and there's these metal chairs, and you're like, okay, this is probably not going to end well. I see this kid go up in the air, fly down, land. He goes out of scene. You can't see him because he's behind this blocked area of the window, and you just see on the other side of the window all these people start running towards the kid. Then you see the kid lifted up, there's blood everywhere.
Oh Jesus.
All of this is happening while the toasts are going on behind them. The bride and groom have no idea that this is happening behind their backs. And then the next thing you know, you see these flashing lights, the ambulance is there, all this stuff's happening, and you
fucking crazy,
torn off out of the scene. And then the toast finish, and everyone looks confused. They start going outside trying to figure out what's going on. It was hysterical. I mean,
you guys all know Trisha. Do you guys know Trisha, the makeup artist?
Yeah,
that shoots for me sometimes. Yeah, that works for me sometimes. She said she's saying a lot of funny things. So hello, Trisha. Let's say hi to anybody who is in here. If you have a question, feel free to pop it in. Anyway, it's been fucking hey Tom, what's up? My cousin's in here. Hey, what's going on? It's been a fucking crazy ride with stories. Let's think.
I shared my boats. The boat story got me thinking about my boat story, but
go
it's not
for it.
My boat story, but this is a secondhand wedding story, but I just like it because it happened. I think the day after.
Wait, this is a story that I told you that you're stealing and we're putting in the show.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Is it okay?
No, it's okay for first to air here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I got this story from a maitre d' the day after I was at a beach venue somewhere down the Jersey Shore, and they were telling me that the day before, or maybe a week before, I forget. It was a couple days before, and the family had the bride and groom arrive, or the bride arrived to the ceremony by boat, as sometimes people do when they have out there on the shore. And they said that the boat was really important to them because they had actually lost it in Hurricane Sandy. It was gone for years, and they thought it was just lost at sea and whatever, it's gone. But apparently they found it down in Florida. Someone found that it was there, and they brought it all the way back up to Jersey, completely put $1 million into it to get it back and up and running. And so they used the wedding as the maiden voyage to go and bring the bride to the ceremony. So they did that, came in, did the ceremony, everything was fine. Reception starts, and they had a guest singer there, Gloria Gaynor, which apparently she is, from New Jersey.
Will Survive.
Yeah, so everyone knows her as I Will Survive. So they have
Allison, you want to play it?
Yeah.
No, just kidding. No. You just got that fucking piano set up in there. I feel horrific that we haven't used it for anything yet. Yeah.
She's up there and she's singing. She's singing "I Will Survive" because she's singing. And somebody goes, "Oh my God, the boat is sinking." The boat turned over and capsized.
During "I Will Survive."
During Gaynor is singing "I Will Survive." And apparently the maitre d' when I overheard the big dad be "I'm done with the boat." It's over.
Okay. Maitre d's.
They're good at
Some of them are amazing. Some of them are able to get you through a day in a way that you're like, fucking thank God for the maitre d'. But some of them are horrific.
Yeah, all of them know that they apparently we all want them to have a kiss in front of the cake, and they will make sure that they don't think that's very important, but they all want to do it. No bride and groom wants to do it, but the maitre d' makes them do it.
That's great. Okay, here's one. I'm not going to name the maitre d' or the location because I don't know if they're alive. Who the fuck knows? But I was at a location back in the day. This is probably about 10 years ago. And it happened to be a really fucking just, like those chaotic wedding days where like everything is being thrown at you. On this particular day, it was now if they're watching, they're gonna figure it out. But there was like a storm related issue. Okay. So there was power issues in the venue. And so there was just like a lot of fucking chaos that was happening in the venue and whatnot. I love that Tim has changed his backdrop to a venue. What venue is that?
You know this is.
I've been there.
Can you name the venue?
I can't name that.
Park Chateau.
Yeah.
Close.
No.
Is it Park Chateau? No.
Park
Park Savoy. Yeah, it's Park Savoy.
Park Savoy. Yeah.
Well, anyway, it happened to be like absolute chaos. All this shit was going on. And the maitre d' came into the, and this would be great. You'll love this, Alison, because of the background here. The maitre d' came into the room, into the, where the vendors are eating. And he went, enough. Like, I don't know what we had nothing to do with anything that was happening with him, but he just screamed, enough. And we all looked at him like, what the fuck? And then he went to the piano that was in this room. There was a piano in the room for whatever reason. And he started playing some fucking orchestrated fucking song, like getting his fucking energy out of the fucking day through this orchestra song. It was one of the wildest things I've ever seen a maitre d' do. And I was like, I don't know what is happening here. What did we do to warrant enough? Got any good maitre d' stories? I'm sure Melissa's got one.
I feel like I was there with you, or at least something very similar.
Yeah.
I remember like somebody was coming in and screaming. I mean, you get a lot of disgruntled maitre d's and people who just kind of want to point fingers and take control of stuff. So there's always those situations. But yeah.
Oh, the worst maitre d', the most annoying maitre d'. I can't even say where from, but man, if you're watching, the maitre d' from a certain venue that like loses his fucking shit if someone's on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That particular person in place is just like intensity. I remember back in the day when, these days I don't always wear a suit to a wedding anymore. I feel like it's, inhibited to, what we do, right? I feel like we have to move around a lot, right? Uh-huh. But, back in the day, it was a requirement that all the vendors had to wear suit and tie, male vendors anyway, obviously. And there was that same vendor who would freak out about people being on the phone would like send people back to go put their suit and tie on. I mean, that was like pretty fucking intense shit for, a 4-hour party. Relax, bro. Nobody's, you know what I mean? I didn't say the venue, but anybody who's shot a wedding knows what venue that is.
No, I did a party recently where every vendor had to be wearing a beige suit.
What? Beige?
A beige suit.
Who has a beige suit?
No one has a beige.
That's what I'm saying. Like nobody has a beige suit, but like so the guy who hired me had to buy me a beige suit. He went to Sears for $100 and he got me a beige suit. So now I got some ugly ass beige suits sitting.
Oh my god!
I want to play a part of somebody in the '70s or something. I can go color to it, but never going to use it again.
This is probably for Tim and Mike. Have you ever ripped your pants during a
Yeah, I did.
I have. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, right down the back, right down the back. Yeah. It's the worst.
I've ripped mine.
I love that Melissa's one of us. Yeah.
I had to wear something wrapped around my waist the rest of the day.
I find gap tape definitely helps with black pants.
I now bring an extra pair of clothes every time.
I don't. I still don't, even though that happened to me. But it happened in a location where there was some time. So I went to a Men's Warehouse and bought a new pair of pants. I was able to.
And you got
that. Yeah, I did have time to shop. Yeah, I did. I'm very particular.
Now where are you, Tim? Where are you now?
I've located the West Mount.
Oh, yeah, the West Mount.
I wonder why you bring that venue up. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, very friendly signs.
Wonderful place. I'm so happy that I get the opportunity to shoot there whenever I do.
The first wedding I ever shot was at the West Mount.
Well, one of the weddings you puked. So which wedding was
that? Was the second. That was the second wedding. That was at the Palace. And I recovered. I mean, I puked, but I kept shooting for like 6 more hours.
How long have you
And
been?
got everybody sick. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God! Wow.
No, sorry, I took it down.
No,
how long have I been shooting?
Take it
for
down.
You? Okay,
Yeah.
I've been shooting for you for like 4.5 years.
Well, I remember on that particular day, I said, "This isn't going to work out."
But I held it together and I kept shooting, and I was like, even through the toast, and I kept feeling, because there was like something going on. Like my brother had caught it, my parents had caught it, my kids had caught it. And halfway through the ceremony, I was like, oh shit, like I'm going to throw up. Like I started sweating and the whole deal. And as they were saying, like, I now pronounce you man and wife, I like ran back and got to the bathroom. And then I kept shooting for the rest of the...
I've had to do a lot of number twos.
I feel like I've edited a wedding for you that I didn't shoot, where like I hear you whisper into someone's ear like I was pinching one off in the back.
Probably. God, I got a good one, but I can't. I'm not gonna share it.
Oh yeah. Well, are we still on what's our new topic? Give us a new topic.
We are now on number twos, or sudden leaving of a ceremony or something for a split pants scenario, or emergency scenario. Wait, real quick before you tell this story. One time I was shooting with the guy who he's a heavy-set man who I started shooting with. Everybody knows who that is now if they follow me at all. But anyway, one time we went to a venue, to a house back in like probably 2007 when I first started shooting, and he was literally doing a number two, and it was a very small house, so every once in a while you would hear, fuck.
That brings me back to the groom days.
Oh man, I love that story, but I can't. He was like, "It never happened." Yeah, okay, it did. And,
oh man,
what do you got? Tim, did you have something?
I don't think I have a super long story, but I filmed the wedding with a broken ankle. That was challenging.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Just because I had to.
That's rough.
Yeah. Well, there is no in our thing. There really is no sick day.
Right.
There is no back injury day. There is no ankle day. It's a fucking I'm shooting the wedding day. That's it.
I'm sure we've all gone in with super sick just because what are you going to do? But that is what it is.
I mean, I'm okay with it. It is what it is. It kind of makes you tougher for other things. Anyway, go ahead, Melissa. What you got?
I mean, I was doing a wedding while we were going through fertility treatments. So I had to do shots, and then you have to do them at a specific time. So of course, everything ran late at this wedding.
Of course it did.
And instead of going to the bathroom where I could privately do this and make it happen, I had to do it in front of a bunch of people during the ceremony in the back. But people still see what you're doing, right? Like they're like, "What's going on over there? What's this whole thing?" You gotta do what you gotta do. So I just hope they don't.
Tough. Melissa and I have an experience working with another videographer. We were shooting a wedding one time, and the other videographer was pregnant, and we found her so incredibly difficult to work with. And I remember telling Melissa, like, something's really wrong with Allison.
Pregnancy.
I was sick. I felt like I had the worst hangover of my life for 9 months. Like, I'm
like the middle person. Pete comes over and he's like, no, and then Allison comes over. No.
I think that was the wedding where we decided like Allison's only gonna work one more wedding after this.
I remember exactly where it was and who it was. We were shooting with Desiree.
You were gonna pass out like that.
Yeah. I remember.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was just way too much. Yeah, I mean, but like turn that in the negative into a positive.
You came back.
You came back, but also you were very dedicated to making it all work, and you didn't.
Yeah, and then I had a few weddings, probably like 3 or 4 after that, because I had the baby in November, so that was like sort of our slow season. But I had some weddings where I was still nursing the baby, where I'd have to like pump in the bathroom, like
I'm sorry,
and carry like I carried like ice packs where I could pump in the bathroom and then carry the milk home with me to still feed the baby.
Yo, mad credit to mom videographers, seriously.
Totally. There's a lot of them out there. Yeah, and photographers. Yeah.
Pumping in cars, pumping in the bathroom, pumping in closets and empty rooms.
The first one that I did back, I think, was 3 weeks after I had my son. And I was pumping. We were in South Pennsylvania, and I was literally pumping in my car.
Wow.
Because, it was crazy.
All right, let's give some shout outs and some props. Who is your favorite DJ that you get to work with?
I'm a big fan of SCE. Anyone from SCE is pretty awesome.
Yeah, SCE is pretty good.
SCE, definitely. All of them are good.
I like Paul Anthony. I like him. He did
Paul's
my best wedding.
Yeah.
He was great.
Paul's a good dude too. Like he's just a good dude, you know. I mean, and
awesome at their wedding.
Shout Christian out from SE. He's very good. And of course my buddy Mike Walter is just fucking, he's just a real deal dude, you know. So it's hard to find
Christian from SCE was the guy that was at the fainting wedding where the
that's his cousin actually. Down. That's his cousin. Yeah. That wedding.
He did such a great job. He was awesome.
Real deal dude.
Yeah.
What you got, Melissa?
I mean, I've worked with most of the posh DJs. I always think they're pretty
phenomenal. That's another good one too. Totally agreed.
Great music.
Posh, elite, Mike Walters, elite, and Total.
They have some good DJs. I like messing with. They're pretty talented guys.
Posh, SCE, definitely SCE all the way. Who else did we say? All those. They're all good. I mean, these days I don't really work with DJs that aggravate me anymore. They're all, you know, they're actually very helpful. So
most of the aggravating the DJs who were aggravating, they just started offering their own video and photo.
Exactly. So I don't get to go to those weddings. Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't think that I've had like.
But
when
sometimes
I've
they're
asked
there when we're
in.
there.
When I've asked to plug in for sound, I haven't had anyone that's been like that's pushed against me in a long time. Everyone's been like, yeah.
But when
like,
I first started, when I switched to started asking DJs if we can plug in, you'd think that I asked them if I can fuck their wife. I mean, the reaction to the fucking question. Hey man, can you mind if I plug into the soundboard? What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? You know what you're gonna fucking do here? Yeah, I'm just gonna get the audio from the fucking speech. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, just relax.
Sometimes. I have it happen when the couple cuts budgets and they get a DJ that has like those skinny speakers and they're like, you can't plug into this.
How about the long?
I have a backup, so okay.
The long unreasonable answer, like. The problem with the speaker is it comes out of the board and it's what the fucking are you kidding? Like, what do you think? I'm an idiot? Like, you just made that up. That is not a thing. You just made up this long wire thing.
Like, they have mixers with 1 million outs, and they're like, I got nothing left. I got nothing left. Like,
so you got RCA? Yes. I don't know. You got RCA? Okay, relax. You know what I mean?
I had one where a guy literally thought I was going to attach it to my camera and walk around the dance floor with the audio cable. I'm like,
how about this? How about just this one? You ever get this one? Hey man, do you mind if I plug into the board? Like,
I've
no
learned
words.
to approach it now in a very gentle manner.
Everything's gentle.
The ego a little.
You know who we have to be gentle at too? This is gonna offend half
The priests. The priests.
Yeah, absolutely, the priests.
Yeah.
Because
Don't
they
worry,
have something stuck up their ass.
I feel like, honestly,
I never have a problem with the priest.
If a female approaches a priest, you have a much better chance of getting the audio than if a male approaches the priest.
That is my theory on that. Yes. I always send Alison or Melissa to go get the mics.
I think the times that we've been denied, the priest swears a lot.
I had a time where a priest said no.
Yeah.
And Melissa, you were shooting this wedding with me.
It was probably the same one you had me ask to.
It was a few years ago. And I asked the priest if I could mic him, and he said no. And then he said something that was like a funeral instead of a wedding. Right? He said
they always take it up the ass when they say no. I find that karma strikes them very quickly. He said it's a memorial or something like that. Maybe I shouldn't have said take it up
they mix up the bride and groom name, like they
right, something names. Like he said something totally wrong, and then he comes up to me after the wedding, after saying no, I could not mic him, and says, "Please do not use what I just said." Because I said it like a memorial, like a funeral. And I was like, no, we're not going to use it. But like, F you for not letting me put that.
I shot a wedding, that same wedding where remember I told you that story a few moments ago about this maitre d' that melted down at the same wedding, because this storm happened to be in the middle of like October. So it was like a random storm. It kind of threw everybody off. And so there's this one priest I don't know his name and whatever, but I asked him to put the mic on, and the conversation really should have it's 2 words, yes or no. I don't need a fucking long-winded. I don't need I don't need the whole drama that goes along with it. Do you understand how serious this is? Like a whole just fucking shit. And sure enough, because of the storm, the bride was late. He was melting down about that. And he was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, well, Father. And now I'm talking sense into the Father. You know what I mean? Like Father. Now I'm the reasonable one. I was like, well, you do understand that it's snowing in the middle of October here, and this is very unexpected. No, I understand, son. I understand. But I'm still like, fuck you. You didn't wear my mic, and I'm trying to help you with your very difficult situation, but you're fucking me now. You know what I mean? With this non-mic thing. So I was really pissed at him. Anyway, of course, he starts his ceremony, and what happens? What would happen in that scenario? All the lights go off. Boom. Shut the fuck down.
Really? Wow.
Done. Now nobody can see what the fuck you're saying.
Like that's the message if I ever heard of him.
Okay. Hi, Leah. Leah Gashion is watching us.
Hi, Leah.
Chef Leah. We all love you. Best photographer. Easiest photographer. Well, best. But easiest photographer to work with. Adrian. I know you're going to say Adrian. Melissa.
Adrian and Jeff.
Right. Outside. You have to say outside of Adrian, because obviously your answer.
Ricky Restiano is really great.
You can't just make up a rule.
Adrian is easy. Adrian.
Okay. Adrian's easy now.
No. Okay.
Wow.
For me to
I love Adrian so much. She's easy, but she'll let you know if you fucked her. You know what I mean?
The time I when I whispered, "You're fucking me right now." that wedding. Peter in, I don't know, row pew 3, 4. You're fucking me right now.
It definitely happened. Yeah. Okay. Easiest photographer to work with. I'd say Ricky Restiano.
Adrian, Jeff. They're like, because they always provide such great content for you to like tap in on. And, if you know each other well, and then you can kind of work off each other. So Ricky and Anthony from
you know what? Actually, who's really good too is Vanessa Joy is very easy to work with because of Rob.
Vanessa was great.
That she's actually very, very easy to work with.
Great.
Yeah, she's always. I like that she's always kind of like, do you need this? Do you need that? Go get that. Go grab this. Like she's always kind of helping me remember that I actually need that shot.
Any photographer that says like, well, because photographers have a difficult job, right? Because they're really arranging all of the family photos, which is difficult, which is something that we don't have to deal with really. We're kind of like hanging in the back while all that is going on.
Yeah.
But any photographer that says also like, hey, let me know if you need to jump in at any point. Like any photographer.
The first time I worked with Ricky Restiano, I actually, for the first 30 seconds, I couldn't stand him. And it was based on absolutely nothing. He came into the room and I was already there and he came in hot. You know what I mean? And I was like, this fucking guy is going to be so annoying today. You know, because he has the tattoos and the bald head and the look and all that. I was like,
he's so nice.
He literally is the total opposite. And within 10 seconds, he was like, look, man, whatever you need, I'm happy to help you with. We're going to work together. It's going to be a fucking awesome day. And it's literally probably my best experience outside of Adrian and Jeff, as you mentioned. And even Drew is great. And Vanessa, like, he is just top notch. I mean,
think when there's
I cannot recommend anybody more.
Like, when there's an understanding of we're both here for the bride and groom and we both have the best interest of the bride and groom here, then there's a good working relationship. If there's ever a sense of
he's funny as fuck, Ricky.
Yeah, if there's ever a sense of like, you're going to be in my way if you're here, then it's tough. But as long
Ricky's never said that to me. Ricky has never said that you're in my way.
Never.
He would be like, he'll just go, Pete, wide lens. You know, and that's it. I got it. I'm like, got you.
Yeah.
How about you, Tim? Who do you got?
Jessica Lauren, I would say.
Oh, she fucking another good one. Yeah, totally. Forgot about her.
Leah and Jeff of Popography are great. I like working with them. And of course, I gotta give a shout out to my buddy Tav, who will do my wedding if I have a wedding.
This is just you did your vendor list is what you did. You just totally fucking Liberty House to me. We recommend I mean, please. Fucking Kickback City.
Yeah, I'm getting the checks in right now.
Just kidding. What do you got, Mike? Anybody that you like working with versus?
It's like there's a couple photographers that are definitely really chill and I enjoy working with. I can't tell you right off the bat their names.
It's okay.
I don't remember most of them, but I know they're. If they were
how about in terms of how about if take out weddings, but maybe in the freelance world, someone that you like working with, like shooting this book with Nicole has been absolutely amazing. We went down to Leah's restaurant a couple of weeks ago, right? Leah, I see you're there. We shot some stuff. Nicole was standing on her table and she shot like pictures of duck and it was like amazing because Leah's food is so fucking good too. So it was like maybe one of my greatest days this year so far. And given what's happened with the coronavirus, it's, you know what I mean? I haven't had many other great days yet since. So I'm sorry, Mike. Yeah. How about freelance wise?
Freelance wise, I mean, there's a lot of people I enjoy working with. And typically I end up shooting a lot more with video people. Yeah. So I work, my buddy Nick Hernandez, Will Kaufman, I got a couple people that
Will.
Will. I mean, a tight net group of people who are like really chill but very talented. I like to work with. Weddings, typically, I'll be honest, once I go into a wedding, once my wedding day starts, I kind of try to get it out of my head as fast as possible. So after the day's over, it's like the whole thing is kind of blacked out. But when I'm in it, I'm like, this is my main focus. It's just I try to push all that stuff out. But yeah, I mean, there's so many people that are very talented. I really enjoy working with.
All right, here's a good one for all you guys.
Oh, please stand by.
Was there ever a time? I really want Tim's answer to this though, and we'll repeat the question for him when he comes back. But was there ever a time at a wedding where you said to yourself, I fucked up?
Well, yeah, definitely.
I fucked up. I missed it. I didn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, there was one.
The fuck.
Yeah.
Tim, how about that one?
What I miss?
Has there ever been a moment or a wedding where you said to yourself, okay, I fucked up. I missed it. I didn't get it. Fuck.
Yeah, like every wedding. No.
We're live, pal.
Ooh, trying to think of what I fucked up. Well, our classic Katuba one. we had been, if I remember correctly, we were filming a wedding.
Genuine laugh, yeah. I remember your face.
We finished photo session. It was like we did a first look and all that thing, and we were waiting for the ceremony to start. We were in the ceremony room, seeing people kind of come in, and we're just shooting the shit and stuff like that. We're like, what's taking so long? And all at once we're like, Katuba.
Katuba.
We forgot that it was Katuba was happening, and we just bolted in.
That's hilarious. Melissa.
Oh man,
I fucked up. Alison already knows the
your
answer.
weddings, because I started off shooting
yeah.
your weddings. There was a time. Oh man, can I even say this? I don't know.
You can.
It doesn't matter. Don't say the wedding, but yeah, we covered it up.
I just didn't record the entire ceremony, and we had to.
It was
stage.
okay though.
We had to stage it.
It all worked out.
It all worked out. Yeah.
It all worked out
We
because
had a
we
backup
had
plan.
a
We had
main
another
shot
plan.
that was fine.
But that scared the shit out of me to the point where I don't think that's ever going to happen again.
Well,
I mean,
hope.
during my weddings, I always have 2 to 3 cameras if I'm shooting solo during ceremony. That's how.
Now, how do I get the 2 to 3 camera package?
I don't even sell it as a
Some
package.
asshole. I know some
My
asshole
ass in
watching.
case I fuck up.
We were really lucky at that wedding that there was some like crazy pink window that I went to center aisle pretty quickly. So we were able to use all center aisle footage.
Nice.
Thank
All right,
God.
Mike, what you got? I fucked up.
I mean, there was one time where I had the camera on a charger that was underneath it because I knew it wasn't going to last just for one battery, so I put on a charger underneath it. But I got a time lapse earlier before of them setting up the ceremony. I never turned the battery off, so when it came time for to actually shoot the ceremony, I had to pretty much shoot the whole thing with one camera, and it was tough because by that point the charger had already died, so I only had one camera to work with, and there was a lot of different angles that I was trying to get, so I had to pretty much make it work as a highlight and not like a full piece. Amongst other, I mean, there's like little things where like the audio I never hit record on the audio or stuff like that.
Yeah,
but then you make
sure.
like the camera work and stuff like that. I mean, I've never not recorded, but
Double tap record? No, don't lie. Don't. No, I'm just messing with you.
Melissa, I did the same thing.
A double tap record. Well, I think the GH5s are really easy to.
It's easy to fuck that up on the GH5, but I fucked it up on a Canon Mark, whatever the fuck, too. So
yeah,
I missed the whole.
Like we didn't realize that there was a second set of speeches happening.
Was that us?
No, that wasn't us. There
Okay.
was a second set of speeches happening, and like I had no idea. And so we were supposed to have 2, and then it was down to 1, and then because we had no idea, and I went to put a new card in because we never know like how long a toast is going to go. Is it going to go like 5 minutes, or is it going to go 12 minutes, or whatever? So I went to put a new card in, and then the card that I put in was like an old ass card, and it was like, cannot read the card. And so I was like switching. But luckily I had plugged
We've all been
in.
there with a card, right?
Oh my God. I had plugged
We all
in
just struck a moment in our mind where the fucking card defaulted.
Yeah,
on.
where it was just like this old ass card that I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll work. And I plugged it in and it just didn't work. And luckily I was plugged into the audio with the DJ. So I had all of the audio of the toast. So I'm able to like cover it up a little bit. But but it was just me. And I had like a 24 on, which was like super wide when like really for toasts, you want to be a little closer in. But it was fine. It all worked out. But there's those moments where you're just like, shit, is this going to work?
We lost Mike Vernazza. Thank you. R.I.P. I rest in phone. I missed a bride walking down the aisle once. Totally. Yeah. And this is a long time ago when I was at the studio. I totally missed it. Just She came down the aisle. I just didn't hit record. Very similar to Melissa's issue, and we had to restage it too. The photographer that I was with said, "Hey, you should just." It was this guy Jim Beckner. I'll shoot him out there. From that studio. Nice dude, really awesome guy. And he said, "Let's just fucking do it and let's just shoot it so we have it." And so then we had her walk back down the aisle, and her shot is perfect. But then I also shot one on my own where I missed some of the ceremony as well, just because of a record. Welcome back from the dead, Mike. Where I missed part of the ceremony, and because of I was working with a crew back in the day prior to you guys that just sucked, and the one dude was like on the floor doing a gimbal shot during the ceremony, and I was like, fuck. I missed this shot, and you're down on the fucking ground doing some fucking dumb shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's so.
Yeah, so I had no angle of it. And of course, then the fucking couple, they're not together anymore, so it doesn't matter. Of course, they hit me up and they were like, "Hey, missing some of the ceremony from the raw footage."
What? Yeah, I mean, actually, while my phone was charging, I just remembered there was the one time where I had, they give us the vendor meals, and they say, "Okay, you can have."
We're gonna get into vendor meals next. That's where we're going. Vendor meals.
I like
I'm gonna hit some fucking places here in a second. I cannot wait. Yeah, vendor meals.
Vendor meal stories, but this would be a nice, transition into that.
I love that. Thank you, Mike, for the transition.
No, you got it. So pretty much, they said, okay, the DJ, everybody, the whole band, everyone's going off to eat. It's time to eat, and so we all go off to eat. And there's nothing on the schedule. I asked the DJ, nothing's happening. While we're eating, I come back afterwards, nothing happened, and just go on with the day, like everything happened. I ended up looking at the footage the next day, talked to the guy who has hired me. Apparently, I ended up missing the entire best man speech because they had it, just like a
random,
thing they just wanted to do. And because of that, while I was eating something that I'm supposed to be doing at that time, I missed the whole speech, and the person ended up having to refund a good portion of the money.
Fuck. I fucked up.
But it's like, I didn't fuck up though, because you're not really supposed to be having anything on there. It's like the whole band, when the band is there and the DJ and everyone.
Yeah, there's no way to know that that's happening. Yeah, you're
totally right. It's definitely on whoever the entertainment is to get photo and video if something like that happens. Not to put.
We had that happen with Melissa and Pete and I, where Melissa happened to go upstairs.
Careful.
It's fine. I think it's fine because we got it.
Okay.
Melissa happened to run upstairs.
I got
we heard silence.
We were downstairs. It got silent. It was dead silent. I was like, something's happening. And I just started going upstairs as the maitre d' was coming downstairs and the toast was already started. So you guys had
we got it.
And we all ran upstairs and we got it.
I remember that one, but there's a significant piece to that story that we can't share.
No.
There is, but we won't share it.
Yeah.
There is, but we won't share it.
It will absolutely reveal the person if that comes out. But it was a very significant speech that was being made. Let's just put it like that. Yeah.
But we had the audio, we had all of that part, so it was fine.
Yeah. What about on that note that Mike just went to?
Vendor meals.
Oh, vendor meals. I was just talking with my brother today about that movie Ready or Not.
I've never seen that.
It was filmed at, can I say the venue?
Yeah.
Ohika Castle has the worst vendor meals.
God.
Where
I didn't know you were going to say that.
Wait, full out.
Don't say.
Fuck, man. I didn't know we were going to go there. Jesus Christ. Look.
They just reserved the cocktail hour food.
I've had a wonderful meal at Ohika, and I love Ohika, so I'm not going to shit on Ohika. I've had good vendor meals at Ohika. Having said that, maybe that was just reflective of that particular wedding. Maybe.
Perhaps.
I've also have had a bad vendor meal. I've had a couple of bad vendor meals in Philadelphia for sure, where I complained about it on Facebook.
Yeah.
But this is really,
there was one in Jersey City that was really bad.
This is going to work against me in my entire life when I'm about to say this. But I also, well, because we're here to promote venues and not to diss anybody. And like Alison just went off on Ohika, which I love working at, and I absolutely adore the places and the people that have shot.
Condone your.
I'm not down with the Ohika one because I do like it there.
I
can't think of a lot that I don't.
I have had a horrific experience once at a very popular venue that is shaped like a barn, that has a nice barn where the ceremonies are, okay? And it's exclusive and everybody wants to get in on it. It's like an estate, and it might rhyme with Mashford.
Okay.
Totally what Alison said, the whole reserved cocktail hour food.
Yeah.
Like, get it together, guys.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I mean,
what the fuck, man? I've been there for fucking 12 hours. You can't fucking throw me a hamburger? Are you
most places are going to give us what the guests are receiving. We might not be able to pick exactly, is it chicken, is it steak, is it fish, but they're providing us chicken, steak, or fish, and you pick, and whoever gets first come, first serve, whatever, whether it's the band that's only been there for 2 hours or us who have been there for 10 hours.
And in fairness to the Mashford estate, I've also have had really wonderful experiences. So you never know. You never know what particular wedding has pissed somebody off.
Right.
But I've always had good dinner meals at the Venetian. I can't complain.
The Venetian's good.
I like the Park Chateau and the Ryland Inn. The Ryland Inn always treats us amazing.
Ryland Inn is my favorite venue.
Amazing. Love their staff. So much.
Maritime Park is really good.
Maritime Park's my favorite venue.
Yeah.
Stonehouse. I love
Stonehouse is my favorite venue.
Stonehouse is great.
They're all my favorite venue.
The Ashford estate, not the Mashford estate, is my favorite venue.
Treats us like a human being and doesn't give us scraps to eat.
The Palace at Somerset is one of my favorite places to work at. They always take very good care of me there.
They do, really.
So
and you know what? The Palace is like, the maitre d's are always so like, hey, what do you need? How much time do you need? They're very good at like time management with us.
The Palace?
Knowing. Yeah, the Palace.
Well, was Richard at the Palace? It's amazing.
Richard's
he's the most amazing human being alive.
It's great.
Love him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we crushed it. What do you guys think?
I think we did good work.
Okay. So listen,
do you have any questions on the Facebook feed, or
let's see. Okay. No, they've all.
Are you at the Ashford now, Tim?
I am at the
Mashford.
They have great food for everybody.
That's the Mashford.
Yeah. The Mashford estate. One time I had a very bad turkey sandwich at the Mashford estate. I remember one time I was at a wedding with Jeff Tisman, and the maitre d'.
Jersey City. That was Jersey City.
No. The maitre d' refused to let us eat at cocktail hour, and Jeff Tisman threw the sandwich.
I had a vendor.
He was fucking hot. He was hot. Yeah.
I had a photographer meltdown at what they gave him, or what they gave her rather. She had requested a vegetarian meal, and they did not have anything for her. And she at first was like, "Oh no, like I really want a vegetarian meal," and they're like, "I'm sorry, we don't have anything." And then we had to get back to like for toast or whatever. And she's like, "Well, I guess I'm gonna miss toast because I have it in my contract that I need food, so I'm gonna go out to McDonald's right now." And she just left.
Yo, Alison, what's the photographer we work with from Philly that we like too?
I can't remember.
He's so cool. He's another one. We just shot that wedding in October with him.
In Philly?
No, we shot it at like a campground.
Oh, I know the bride's name, but I don't remember the. No, I do. Mike
Joe?
Something or Joe something.
John.
That's him. John.
Jacob.
No, it's John for sure.
John. Why am I drawing a blank on the fucking guy's name? He's great. Sorry, John.
Look.
You're amazing.
Right,
I had a great time. I always have a good time shooting with him.
Is he the house photographer somewhere? Like his family owns a property? Or is that someone else?
No, different. That's Bluebell.
I can't think of the guy's name. John. Fuck.
No, I know.
So embarrassing. I don't know anybody's name, John. Don't be offended by this, by the way.
Hold on.
John's like, what the fuck, man? We shot like 10 weddings together this year.
Poor John.
Yeah. I know which John it's definitely not.
Barone.
That's it. John Barone. Yeah, he's awesome. Very good dude.
Yeah, he was great.
Well, listen, guys, this was a great chat. And I've been doing every day on Facebook. I don't know if you're aware, but I've been giving gratitude to people. Are you guys aware of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So listen, today's gratitude is to all of you. To Mike Vernazza for being a go-to, dependable, amazing human being who I love getting wings with. To Alison Balleta, who is always my right hand and always by my side, and just a great friend who throws up at weddings. And to Melissa, who I had my first time I was with Melissa, our job interview was we had beers, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful for you. And I think you're an amazing person. I think Adrian's awesome as well. And I appreciate everything that you guys have done for me. And to Tim Hillman, of course, throwing me off with using my own background now. One of my best buds in the whole world, man. I'm super excited for you for May 16th. I know your journey. I've been around for a long time. And I'm just so grateful for all you guys for doing my Live at Night show. So thank you so much, guys. I think we rocked this, yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Cheers, man. Later, guys.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.